I need to vent. Hi, my name's R.A. Paulsgrove, but you can call me River, and I am an author, and I write books about vampires, veyors, sexy serial killers, zombies, did I mention zombies? Werewolves, and yeah. Oh, also trauma. Yeah, a lot of trauma. I also include a lot of sex jokes and humor and hope because it's really important to not just portray victims of trauma as these tragic heroes, but also as actual people who are capable of healing, who are capable of finding love, capable of, you know, capable in general. Because a lot of times when I see a victim in media, they are shown as just constantly like sad all the time, and it feels like there's one flavor of trauma, and that is just depressed, brooding bad boy. No, okay, or like super damaged person, or like super damaged girl who's really scared all the time, really timid. No. Victims look so different, and everyone responds to trauma differently, which is why I write my characters the way I write my characters. So, like Quinn, the way he has responded to trauma, not super healthy because he enjoys killing people. I mean, it's just how he fixes it. It's how he helps. Is that healthy? No. Do I condone it? No. And that's just what he does, though, because he's a veyor and he can do that shit. And it's a fiction book, so yeah. The other thing that happens with Quinn is sometimes he will hear voices or see things that aren't there because, you know, obviously, like what happened in his past. Oh yeah, I should also probably mention that there's going to be spoilers because I was, to be completely honest, I was expecting this video to be something completely different. I was going to rant about how much I hate having to promote myself, but it's just turning into this, so we're just going to go with this. I'll put a spoiler warning in the description. Anyways, okay, I'm really bad at YouTube. Whatever. So yeah, Quinn will see things that aren't there and, you know, talking to voices in his head. Whereas someone like Lucas, who also has experienced trauma, but in a different way and to a different degree. Not that his trauma is any less valid, but it is very, very different. And it's not that it's less severe, it's just that it was different, okay? Lucas has a temper. Lucas can get really explosive sometimes when he's triggered. And he doesn't get the auditory or visual hallucinations that Quinn does. And, I mean, he also uses murder as a coping mechanism, but again, vampire. He's doing his best, though. So, these two characters have both suffered trauma. Different trauma, but they're different people, and they respond to it differently. So, okay, let's talk about why we need to be better about writing traumatized characters and how we can make them a little more well-rounded. For starters, one thing you can do, give them happy moments after the trauma. Give them happy moments after the trauma that have nothing to do with the trauma. Why? Because when we've been traumatized, a lot of times it can feel like our lives are like just encompassed by our brain, and like our brain hijacks us, and it makes it really hard for us to cope and exist. But as we heal, as we kind of start to come out of that, we will start to have these moments, maybe not like long stretch, it won't be long stretches, especially at first. We'll have these moments where we can find ourselves genuinely happy. Clarifier though, this is after you get out of your abusive situation, okay? You cannot heal when you are in an abusive situation. If you are currently in an abusive situation, your one job is to survive and get out. Well, those are technically two things, but they go together. Whatever, counts as one. That's your job if you are in an abusive situation. You survive and you get the fuck out, okay? This is all, you know, going to be relevant. So I can talk to people who are out of their abusive environment, away from their abusers, okay? I just really need to make that clear. One thing you can do to make your abuse victims more well-rounded is give them moments of happiness. Show the healing process. Now, obviously the healing process isn't going to be all sunshine, rainbows, and roses. It's going to be really hard. There's going to be a lot of messiness, a lot of emotions, and don't be afraid to really dig into that. Also, don't be afraid to show your characters' trauma responses being traumatizing or harmful to others. Let me explain. Here's the thing, because that's how it goes a lot of times. Does that make the abuse victim the abuser? Depends on what they do with it. Does the abuse victim say, take responsibility and say, yeah, I did that. I'm going to work on myself really, really, really hard so that I don't do this again. And you do what you got to do, and I am so sorry. Okay? Like, just because you were traumatized, like, your trauma is your responsibility. It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility, and that's another really fucked up thing. A lot of times the abusers get to go off and live their lives perfectly happily and normally, and then the victim is saddled with the responsibility of healing their own trauma so they don't pass it on to someone else. Now, when a victim turns abuser is when they do not take responsibility, when they continue the same pattern of behaviors, and when they genuinely do not care about the other person's safety and well-being. That's where it crosses the line, okay? I can say this. I have done things that have really hurt people. I can definitely say that. And was it my fault? It was my responsibility. I don't know if, it was my responsibility. And a lot of those people have distanced themselves from me, and that's okay. That's totally cool. I get it. And yeah. Does it make me a bad person? No. It made me someone who was deeply traumatized and who didn't have the proper coping skills. So yeah. And also, if you are someone in this situation where you've been hurting people due to your trauma responses, please don't be too hard on yourself, okay? It's a hard balancing act to find that, like, okay, yeah, I did this thing that really hurt someone. Also, I am someone who's working on myself, and I need to extend myself grace while also taking responsibility for what I've done and try to make it better and fix it in however way you can. It's a tough balancing act, and it's really hard because it feels like it feels like the world's becoming more and more black and white of good guys and bad guys, when actually there's a lot of gray in the middle, and most people are in that gray area. We're not completely good, we're not completely bad. We are right in the middle, and we have some good parts about us, some super toxic parts about us, some parts that we're really proud of, other parts we're kind of ashamed of. There's everyone, people think like, oh, people, they're like a two-sided coin. No, they're more like, because ooh, this is perfect. They're more like this. This is, oh God, I don't know how many numbers are on this, but this is a die, like for Dungeons and Dragons. I got this when I was in Minnesota at the Mall of America because I thought it was cool. And it's literally got like, I think 112 sides. That's the number I see. And yeah, so people are more like this. We have so many sides to us. It's not just people have the good and the bad. No, we have the good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between, the in-between, the in-between. So much. And when you're writing characters, don't just put them in good, angelic victim category and evil category, okay? There's so much nuance to these sorts of things. And we need to talk about it. We need to make this stuff known, especially since there's a lot of shame in healing. One of the things, now I mentioned before about how like when you are healing from trauma, sometimes you can pass that trauma on to other people and you don't mean to, and that can lead to a lot of shame. And sometimes that can lead to a person doubling down and being like, I'm fine, I can't face this, I can't face that, I did this thing, so I'm just gonna deflect and not deal with it because I feel so ashamed. Can we just like, I'm talking over there. Can we just make it so like people can grow? Like I see a lot of things where someone gets canceled and they're just immediately forever horrible in the eye of the public. They can't grow, they can't do better, they're not allowed to learn. And it's really sad because I think that can also push people further to problematic extremes, okay? Now, there is a difference between that and being completely unrepentant and like, I didn't do anything wrong, let's just take the blame right off me. No, that shit can stay canceled, okay? That can stay canceled. We need to look at things we need to look at the nuance in things. And we need to stop jumping to conclusions. And I'd really love to see more Grey characters, if you know what I mean. Not Christian Grey. He's pretty firmly in the fucked up, do not, bad. Very bad. No, when I say Grey characters, I mean morally Grey characters. I had to make a 50 Shades of Grey remark. I just fucking had to. Okay, there's my rant. I'm probably gonna do a rant about how much I hate advertising my books and promoting my shit. I'll just tag it on really quick here. I don't like promoting myself. Why? Because my books are so personal. I can't look at it like a product. I can't look at it like a business. It's literally part of myself. And it's like, oh, just make like, make these cute little catchy music videos. I can't, I'm trying, but it's complicated. It's really complicated. I also don't have those skills. I just don't. I'm not good at it. Okay. Thank you for putting up with me.